5. Psychedelics and Surprises. Today's entry is called Psychedelics and Surprises. One of the surprises for me with this project was how many people from the psychedelics community have embraced this way of visualizing the dimensions. For instance, author and research scientist David J. Brown, a world-renowned expert on psychedelics, said this about my book. Imagining the 10th Dimension is one of the most brilliantly conceived and mind-stretching books that I've ever encountered. With no psychedelics experience myself, I find this particularly fascinating. In this blog, I've talked about Graham Hancock's amazing book, Supernatural, which advances the idea that persons around the world and throughout human history have had experiences and visions when they're in altered states of consciousness, whether those are self-induced trance states or through the use of psychoactive substances, that show remarkable similarities. Do such experiences lift the veil, so to speak, and allow people to see actual aspects of the extra dimensions? It's a possibility I find very attractive. In my book and this blog, I've explored many other out-there concepts that can tie to this. Are prescience, déjà vu, out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, perhaps even ghosts and spirit voices, all examples of how there are patterns of awareness which exist outside of our limited space-time window into reality? You might be interested to read this recent article from New Scientist, which is titled, "Drug Hallucinations Look Real in the Brain." Another of the surprises for me with this project was the people who looked at my Helix logo and presumed this was all about Kabbalah, because of the similarities to the Tree of Life. Yes, I see the connections, but I don't recall ever seeing the Tree of Life until after my book was published, and comments started to come my way about this coincidence. What I find particularly interesting is that there are schools of thought within the Kabbalah which teach that we can divide our reality into 3 triads, which can be summed up as the material, the moral, and the intellectual. In the last chapter of my book, I reached a similar conclusion, that there are 3 systems interacting through constructive interference, all of which in their unobserved state can be assembled into the 10th dimension as a point of indeterminate size. Those 3 systems are 1. The physical world, 2. The quantum observer who, through constructive interference, is actively engaged in observing specific aspects of the other 2 systems, and 3. The information equals reality world of memes, patterns of grouping, or waveforms. Likewise, it's interesting to relate this to Popperian cosmology. Philosopher Karl Popper proposed that there are 3 worlds: the physical, the mind which observes, and mental patterns of information. I talked about all this in greater detail in my blog entry, 3 Becomes 1. Is this recurring idea that there is a physical world, a world created by observation participation, and an underlying realm of information, another example of how imagining the 10th dimension plugs into some deeper truths about our reality? I believe it is. And constructive interference is an important phrase to keep in mind through all this, as it applies to quantum mechanics, the universe as a hologram, Wheeler's self-excited circuit, and the role of life and consciousness in creating this universe or any other. Next time, our topic will be observers and addictions. Till then, enjoy the journey.